Yo, what is good, Jets Nation? Welcome back to another Jets Media live stream. Hope you guys are enjoying your morning. We're live in the AM with DJ from the NY Daily News to give his thoughts about what's going on with this New York Jets team. We're getting our first W against the Titans, and then DJ is going to London tomorrow to cover that game over against the Atlanta Falcons. So, DJ, how you doing, my man? What's going on?
Doing good, man. Just getting ready to go out to London tomorrow. It's gonna be a fun, very fun experience. I'm just ready. I mean, it's my third time going out there, so I mean, I went there twice as a kid. Obviously, I don't remember much from those trips with my parents, but obviously going to London as an adult, not many people can do that. I'm doing it for free, so it's lit.
Doing it for free, going there, sitting in the press box. Are you kidding me? You're living the dream, man. That's awesome. So, to start off, DJ, let's get into the game against the Tennessee Titans because the Jets got their first victory, and man, did it feel good. None of us expected a W. We had somewhat of an idea. Okay, maybe we can upset them. AJ Brown's out. Julio Jones is out. The defense has to just hone in on Derrick Henry. We need to make sure we get pressure on Ryan Tannehill. You know Ryan Tannehill very well. So, what
hmm
was your thoughts about the Jets' win as a whole before we get into specifics about Zach Wilson and the defense and what this win means for the Jets' season going forward?
So I think in terms of that's the last question. So where it means going forward, I feel that it can springboard in terms of making sure there's healthy development from learning the scheme from a defensive perspective and building on that, and in the offense being able to get some of that confidence, and so they can flash more of that explosive playmaking ability that this offense possesses. When you have Zach Wilson who can keep a play alive and create a really big play to either Corey Davis or Keenan Cole, or maybe later on Elijah Moore, Denzel Mims, things of that nature. You showed those flashes. So, like from going forward standpoint, I feel that gives Jet fans a lot more hope because I think what was happening a lot was Jet fans were losing patience because they weren't like they ain't not most Jet fans don't expect to make the playoffs and they don't really care that much about the record. Some do, but not that many. But it's the way they were losing, where you had the defense doing their job, keeping the game close, and then you had the offense struggling to score points. They scored 6 points in two games combined, and basically were averaging, I think, 6 points overall through the first three games. So you just wanted to see some, just a functional offense at that point. Jeff fans weren't really asking for too much. Then but yeah, going into the game, I thought the Jets had a chance. I texted Damian Woody the night before, and I said that after Boston College lost, and he was upset about it. Obviously, I was like, the Jets gonna get you one tomorrow. So I had a feeling the Jets were gonna win. Obviously, I didn't tweet it out or predict anything yada yada, so I don't want to take no credit for that. But yeah, I mean, when they, as you alluded to, all they had to do was hone on Derrick Henry, and they did a decent job at that, right? Yes, if you look at the stat sheet, you'll think Derrick Henry ran wild, but in reality, if you watch the game, they never let him break for that 50 yard, 60 yard, 30 yard run that could take over the game, right? And then early in the game, when the Jets were, the offense was really doing much, and but the defense was able to hold them to only 9 points. The game could have got out of hand after exactly that first interception, which wasn't his fault. Corey Davis fell. That wasn't his fault. So the game could have got a little bit out of hand, a little bit. But by them holding him, and then the next drive the Jets go down and score, I knew it was a game at that point. So yeah, I mean, overall though, it was a very good win. Each unit played well, offense, defense. Obviously, things that they could both improve on because at the end of the day, the defense did let Tennessee Titans go down there and score to send the game into OT. Zach Wilson did miss a couple of throws that could have ended the game in overtime. But all those things, Zach alluded to, the defense pointed out. But again, the NFL is about wins and losses, and they got to win. And that's all that really matters.
Yeah, and that was probably the most important win of the season because now we're 1-3 instead of 0-4. Now there's positive vibes going into London, going against a team in the Atlanta Falcons that Jets fans should expect a W. And I feel like this W was just so important for this Jets team. And I'm happy that you talked about how the Jets went up against Derrick Henry. And as a Jets fan, I got Derrick Henry on my fantasy team, and I know what I had him. I had him on my team last year as well. He's like my guy in fantasy. And I said going into this game, I'm like, okay, all I want is to Derrick Henry to not embarrass us with one of those crazy highlight stiff arms where he just chucks D back 10 yards, or he just takes it to the house for 80 yards. And I'm so happy you said that, DJ, because if you look at the stat sheet, it looks like he had one of his best games of the season so far. But when you watch the game, they did everything they possibly could to contain Derrick Henry. I think the stats shows it's just volume. I mean, 33 carries. He's destined to break out at least 10, 15 yards at least once or twice, and that's exactly what happened. So what the Jets' game plan was attacking Derrick Henry. I love what I saw from them, especially when it comes to attacking Ryan Tannehill. So flipping the coin and talking about Zach Wilson real quick, DJ, what was your thoughts about his first victory as a New York Jet? Obviously, the first 3 games of his career has been rough. He only really had one good half or even one quarter of good football throughout his first 3 games, and that coming from the Carolina Panthers game when he had 2 touchdowns. After that, he had 4 picks against the Patriots. After that, he had two picks against the Broncos, and the rookie quarterback was really struggling. And I always tried to preach to Jets fans, listen, it is going to be an up and down season. I expected this to happen. It's just going to be a really big test. And I know that you had that great quote after the Patriots game when you were talking post game, let the cookie bake. So what was your thoughts about Zach Wilson's first victory?
It was great to actually. It was great to actually watch that. Like I ain't gonna lie, it was very entertaining. Like when the one at the Corey Davis watching that in the press box, it was like, is he gonna do that? Is he gonna try that? He's trying it. Okay, and now here goes the ball. Oh shit! Okay then. Okay then. So like that was really impressive. Obviously, I think the best throw of the day was I think the Keenan Cole is what really got that's what really shot his confidence through the roof in that aspect, because he just looked like a way more confident player after that throw. He did point out that the drive where they scored a touchdown as an offense that released some tension, but I do think, I mean, he was still like, the numbers were still like, after that throw to Keenan Cole, like it looked like he finally started to settle in. With which he ended up doing. They scored. I know they kicked the field goal. Then the next drive, he basically did the same thing. Corey Davis drew a pass interference. Then you had I think Jameson scored on that drive, and then what I'm saying, a couple of drives. The next drive he had he had the Corey Davis play, man, and it was nice to finally see that talent. I'm not really too worried about stats, counting stats and advanced stats, while they're important for a rookie quarterback, it's really more about the eye test, right? Because like if you compare Josh Allen's rookie year to Tua Tagovailoa's rookie year, Tua Tagovailoa had more touchdowns passing, he had a better completion percentage, he had more wins, and I think he may have even had more yards. I'm not too sure from a passing standpoint, but the eye test. Like while Josh Allen had his flaws, but from a physical standpoint, like Josh Allen like jumped out. It was just like, could he hold all of that in? And now look in year 3, what he looks like, and going to Tonga Baloa's career, there's still a lot of questions, especially concerning his durability. So for Zach, I was never really concerned about stats. That's why my baseline was always 3,800 yards, 21 touchdowns, less than 18 turnovers. And I think that that's kind of like the pitch he's on. He might finish like interceptions, touchdowns probably gonna be around the same, because like when you put yourself in that type of hole, at one point it was 3 to 8. You put yourself in that hole, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be hard for you to overcome that as a 2 to 8. As a rookie, it's gonna be hard for you to overcome that. But it's all about the eye test for a rookie, like he flashed all the talent that middle number 2 overall pick. We need to get him, like, because all those plays, as nice as they were off schedule, and you can't really live on that. Like, granted, yeah, we see Aaron Rodgers, we see Patrick Mahomes. They're able to live, like they're able to make plays in those situations. But what they're really dangerous at is they can really dice you up from the pocket within 3 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like Zach showed flashes of that in overtime when he hit Keenan Cole on that corner route. That was within 3 seconds. Like the pass rush couldn't even get there, and then boom, you're making a hell of a throw. And those plays is what makes you go from like very, very talented, which most quarterbacks in the NFL are, to now you're a good quarterback, now you're an elite quarterback, and things of that nature, because now you can dice with the defense within 2-3 seconds. And now they got to be creative to get pressure and to try to make you force a mistake. And then all you need is one of the guys that they're trying to, create pressure with, someone on the back end, and now you can dice them for a big play. So overall, though, he showed that talent. And I mean, as I say, let the cookie bake. The cookie's still baking at the end of the day. So even when he comes back down to earth, let's say he doesn't have a good game, next week, I'm gonna still keep that same mantra. Let the cookie bake. Let's take our time, because He's only next week's going to be starting number 5 at the end of the day. He's going to be starting number 5. So we just got to continue to be patient. The talent is there. The talent like that, like the throw he made, like let's see, I think the one to Keenan Cole for 54 yards. Um, I tweeted like less than half of the league can't make that throw. Like there's a very short list of guys that can make that throw, and he's one of them. And at the end of the day, when you got a quarterback that make those type of throws, you just got to develop everything around him. And he got to develop some aspects in his game, and then that's where he can start to take that leap.
Yeah, man, very, very well said about Zach. I feel like Jets fans need to also realize just because he had his explosive game, his definitely best game of his career as a rookie, does not mean it's going to happen every single game. He's still a rookie. He's going to have some games where he's going to struggle, and you have to understand that not only is Zach Wilson a rookie, but Mike LaFleur is a rookie play caller, and he's still learning. And I feel like he took a big step. And Zach Wilson did not have the perfect game as well. And I feel like you said, he had a lot of opportunities to finish the game. He had that 3rd and 10 to Corey Davis that he missed. He had that pass to Ryan Griffin that he dirted that would have won them the game. He had a chance to throw the ball away on that 3rd and goal in overtime to make it 4th and goal at the 1. And Robert Saleh even said himself that they're going to go for it. So there's still a lot of things that Zach Wilson needs to learn from. But hey, Zach Wilson can learn from a win instead of learning from a loss. How does that work? My thoughts of Zach Wilson's game, man. I just feel like going into this one, okay, Zach, this is your first time not going up against a top-tier defense. I want to see some flashes from what you did at BYU, why you were the 2nd overall pick, because I know you have it in you, and that's exactly what he did, man. Those throws were just, as a Jets fan, so eye-opening. Like that one to Corey Davis, like for him to roll to his right and for him to absolutely point to him and say, go deep. Like that's like, I feel like that's what I did when I was young with my friends, throwing the football around, like backyard football. You're like, yo, go deep. And I love how he pointed twice. And Corey Davis looked at him. He's like, Corey's probably like, really? And then he just absolutely just unloads it. Like as a Jets fan, DJ, we're not used to that type of like ability at the quarterback position. And I feel like that is what his potential is outside the pocket. But you said it best. I feel like there's still a lot of work on when it comes to being that pocket passer, because you can be that off schedule, great, talent outside. But if you can't make those intermediate throws at a consistent basis, that's what's going to separate you from being a great quarterback and a mediocre quarterback.
Agreed. Completely agree there.
Yeah, so now let's switch out over to the defensive side of the ball, because this was woo-wee. So going into the season, DJ, I think a lot of Jets fans, at least myself included, and I was completely wrong. Going into the season, I said this might be the first time that Jets offense might be better than the Jets defense, simply because Carl Lawson went down and all the injuries, and we had a lot of high expectations for this offense right out of the gate. And we were wrong. This defense has kept us in the game all 4 games, in my opinion. I feel like if the offense played the way they did against the Titans in the first 3 games, I feel like it would have been competitive and we would have had a chance to win. I feel like the defense has been doing their job. The defensive front has been everything that we expected. But the biggest surprise is the secondary. Bryce Hall, Michael Carter II, Javelin Guidry, Brandon Eccles. Like these guys, I just sent out a tweet before the stream. Like what Joe Douglas did and the type of guys that we have, the age and where we drafted him. I mean, Bryce Hall, 5th-round pick last year. Michael Carter II, 5th-round pick this year. Javelin Guidry, undrafted free agent. Isaiah Dunn, undrafted free agent. Brandon Eccles, 6th-round pick. Like, Joe Douglas, these are all his picks. And going into the season, Jets fans are like, yo, these cornerback room, I don't know what to expect. We just have to rely on the front 7 to bail them out. But, man, what was your thoughts about this, not only the Jets secondary, but the Jets defensive front getting 7 sacks against the Titans?
Yeah, so for the 7 sacks, that was pretty impressive. But like, a lot of that was really because a lot of it was coverage sacks, Like Tannehill, there was nobody getting open because, obviously without Julio and AJ Brown, you're talking about 3, 4, and 5 trying to get open. And the Jet cornerbacks, they, to their credit, like that was probably the least amount of talent. Granted, everybody's talented, but like it's like the best receiving core that they faced this year. I mean, the worst. There we go. The worst. That's the word. The worst receiving core that they faced this year. Because week 1 when you go against the Panthers, and you go week 2 you go against the Patriots. Week 3 you go against the Broncos. Granted, the Patriots receiving core not good, but better than what Tennessee has. So those tests that they faced, that helped prepare them for this matchup where they can really go out there and do their thug dizzle. They was out there really locking it up. They was doing their dollar. Dudes were not getting open. I think the leading receiver was Chester Rogers. Well, technically it was the running back. He had 73 yards or 74. But the leading wide receiver was Chester Rogers, who I think had 63 on like 5 catches or something like that. So that's a really good day at the office in terms of just being able to, lock it up on the backside. They've really impressed. Matt Carter's been a stud. Um, Bryce Hall has flashed that he could be a really good starting NFL corner. Brandon Echols has flashed too, fast at athletic ability. And another thing too I really like is that the Jets, they don't put them in bad situations. Jeff Ulbrich and Robert Saleh, they're putting them, they're game planning around their strengths, which is what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to put your players in the best position to succeed. If that has to compromise something, so be it. Which is like obviously you can't take away everything, which is why they give up a lot of underneath stuff. It's because they're trying to protect the over the top stuff. Because at the end of the day, that's what gets you beat. Stuff over the top. Because a team dink and dunk you all the way down the field. When they get in the red zone, you can't dink and dunk anymore. Because there's less field, it's more constrictive. There's more guys you got to make miss. And that's just harder to do in the NFL. So last week, I think Tennessee got into the red zone 5 times, only scored 2 touchdowns. So right there, that is the difference in the game, right? Because as I alluded to earlier, when Zach threw that first interception, the next play, I believe, there was roughing the passer on Shepard. So at that point, the Titans were inside the 15. That they were inside the 15. If they give up a touchdown right there, it's 13 zip. I don't think the Jets come back from that. But when it's 9-0, one touchdown, you're right back in the game. And then before you know it, like they were able to hold them all the way to the third quarter. Then before you know it, they just had to lead the first lead of the year. So, man, that defense has played extremely well. D line has been as advertised. John Frankenmeyer, pay him his money. Joe Douglas, pay him his money. He needs his money. Quentin Williams been doing his thing. Pay him his money too. Because you mind a good defense would be if they had Carl Lawson. I think if they had Carl Lawson right now, I think they win the Carolina game. Cause yeah, that was the main reason why I flipped my thing. I know I did tweet that it was bless Austin, but really I was leaning Carolina regardless. I started leaning Carolina back when he got hurt. Um, I don't know why I hid behind the bless Austin thing, but yeah, but if they had, I think they win that Carolina game. Um, and obviously they win yesterday, obviously too. I mean, they went on Sunday, so I think right now they're probably 2-2, and now you're going to London, possibly could be 3-2, and I think they probably win that London game too. So, um, yeah, man, the defense is exceed expectations, and again, Robert Saleh, Jeff Hoover, they're putting their guys in position to succeed on the back end.
Yeah, man, and that's the best part about this defense is that we knew that we're getting an attacking front seven that can get to the quarterback. We're seeing such creative twists, some stunts, just beautiful game planning from Ulbrich and Saleh. Bryce Huff stepping up, making that big step in year number 2 as an undrafted free agent. He's filling in for Carl Lawson. We have John Franklin Myers. Quentin Williams has 3.5 sacks. Oh my gosh, it's just so fun to watch. And one position group we did not talk about so far, DJ, is the linebacker core. CJ Mosley is
Mm-hmm.
playing like an absolute all-pro. The reason why we gave him $85 million, as Jets fans, we're waiting for CJ to do something. It's been 2 years, and CJ looks like he's in the best shape of his life. He's not only all over the field, but he's also the quarterback of the defense, calling out plays, doing an audible, which usually what never happens that Robert Saleh talked about in the press that obviously that you saw. So what are your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts about CJ Mosley and also Quincy Williams being the older brother of Quinton Williams, absolutely looking like a violent piss missile every time he just tackles somebody. So what's your thoughts about the linebacker core between CJ and Quincy?
Yeah, man. CJ leads the team in snaps right now. Like he's played 98% of the snaps, so he's been the leader of the team. Obviously, as I did an interview on him before the season, he said, when I'm on the field, what I bring, I'm a top 5 linebacker. Um, and he's shown that. She's been showing that since OTAs, training camp, and I shown that in the games. Only thing that he can be a little bit better at is probably a little bit cover skills, but he has so much responsibility. Of course, he's gonna. I mean, not he's giving up anything big. It's not like he's guarding a tight end and a tight end's tearing him up. It's just like a running back that catches something flat or catches like a check down or whatever. Like, but besides that, CJ Mosley's been everything is advertised. Um, has really been doing his thing. Uh, Quincy, Quincy, that's been like probably one of the bigger surprises on the team. Because I mean, he just got on the team not too long, like a couple of weeks ago,
Yeah,
and he's
crazy.
been playing really well. He played really well last game. The one standout play was though when the Jets decided to run that screenplay, and he comes and he decks the running back for a TFL. So I mean, he's been playing well, man. Linebacker group. They've been really able to hold up, pick up the slack. With Jared Davis being out. So once he gets back, it's only going to help the group overall. But man, it's been a really impressive start to the season from a defensive standpoint at all levels.
So switching to the game against the Falcons coming up in London, DJ. What are your expectations for this one? We're going up against a team that has one of the worst defenses in the NFL. They have an offense with Matt Ryan. They had a shootout with the Washington football team last week. We know what to expect as Jets fans in terms of what we want to see from them, especially on an offensive standpoint. I feel like, in my opinion, we match up well against the Falcons because their defense is really bad.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that with the aging Matt Ryan, I feel like if we can get pressure on him, I'm not scared about his legs. Obviously, he's not that mobile, but the Falcons' offense do have playmakers. I still have a guy named Calvin Ridley, who is probably going to be the best receiver that the Jets are going to have to go up against outside like DJ Moore maybe in week one. And they have Kyle Pitts, who's still trying to get his feet wet as a rookie. So what are your expectations against the Falcons? Do you think that this is a winnable game for the Jets? And what do you want to see them see from the Jets in order to get the victory?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I have the Jets winning this game, so that puts y'all at 2-3. What they need to do is make sure they continue to get pressure on Matt Ryan. I think a whole game on Matt Ryan because I mean, you don't, it's hard to stop an offense that's balanced, but right now the Falcons they aren't really running the ball too well. I mean, they're 25th in the NFL and rushing yards per game at 86. So just put the game on the Falcons, on Matt Ryan's shoulders and just continue to pressure him and get the ball in and out, make them dink and dunk and work their way up the field. Don't allow any explosives. Which has just have done a fantastic job at this year. I mean, the only legitimate explosive play that we can think of is like the one to DJ
Robbie
Moore,
Anderson.
which was like in Robbie Anderson one week one. I can't really think. Oh, and it may be like
Screen passes, if you can
um
count that.
made a couple of screen passes, like Tim Patrick, making a reasonable catch
Yeah.
over Bryce Hall, but it's just a very small amount, of explosive plays. So continue to keep that mantra. And then from an offensive standpoint, I mean, Atlanta they don't have really good defense, so I think it's the game where you want to get the run game going, man. Get the run game going because it hasn't been good throughout to start the year. Get the run game going, and then so we can see what more the offense needs to look like long term for Zach Wilson's development, right? If Zach Wilson can get a running game, he's going to be extremely lethal. I'm trying to tell people that he's going to be extremely lethal. So the game is going to start to slow down for him. That's pressure on him. He's going to be able to really it's going to be easier reads for him because we know it's play action. You're going to have the linebackers get sucked in. It's going to be a quick, decisive throw. You know what I'm saying? You're going to look for your first option. You don't see it go down to your check down, right? And then, that's when Zach Wilson's going to be able to really take that next step, whenever that is. You know what I'm saying? But again, get that run game going. Because you have their backs to do it. The O-line got to be a little better in that aspect. The O-line was good from a pass protection standpoint last week. It was really good. Zach was only sacked twice, but again, that was a combination, right? You had the O-line doing their job, Zach Wilson getting the ball out. I do need to look for some stats just to figure out how often, like the difference between him holding the ball and getting the ball out quick. But it looked like from the eye test, he was getting the ball out for the most part. Wasn't really holding it, wasn't really patting it. Was liking what he saw. Was trusting his reads. Was throwing outside the numbers because again, if you got Corey Davis on the outside, so feed him a little bit on the outside, which he did. That one play where Corey Davis had like 30-yard catch where he obviously, I don't know if he changed play line scrimmage or whatnot, but it was easy pitch and catch. Throw it to Corey Davis on the outside. Corey Davis run for 13 yards with 30 yards, 15 yards, 30-yard reception. Then obviously on that third down right before that play, hit Corey Davis on the out route. Because those out routes, when I was watching the film, man, it was open. Like Elijah Moore was getting open on those. Corey Davis was getting open on those. If Zach Wilson was a average arm quarterback or even like a weak arm quarterback, last time I ain't thought that. But Zach Wilson can launch it. He can fire it in those windows. So, taking advantage of those opportunities to keep just to keep the offense moving, because sometimes it's just like, playing pitch and catch, Um, so get the run game going. Obviously, Zach Wilson play action off of that. Take what's there. Balance between explosive plays, boring football, and defensively get after Matt Ryan. The secondary do what they did last week, but then again, going to get Kyle is gonna be a little bit different. Going to Kyle Pitts gonna be a little bit different. But overall, though, I think they just have a really good chance to win this game.
Yeah, man. And going to, the Titans game, I always felt like Zach Wilson, the only way he's going to play well is if there's a run game. And it's crazy because he had a pretty good game without the run game. So that really just gives you an idea of what the potential is with Zach when they do finally establish a run. And I feel like Mike Carter, even though he didn't really have the best game last week, but I really feel like that's more about the protection up front for him, or the run blocking rather. I think the pass blocking was great. The run blocking was not there. And I feel like that's where we're missing Mekhi Becton the most in the run game, because he is an absolute menace in that field. But I do like what I'm seeing from Michael Carter. I hope that this is the game where he can really break out and we can establish a run game early on. One more quick question about the Jets, because I want to get your thoughts about this, DJ. What's your thoughts about the Jets receivers room right now? Because we got Jameson Crowder back, his first game of the season. He looked great, 7 receptions, a touchdown. Corey Davis had that, little stretch of not looking too good. Jets fans were getting concerned. Elijah Moore was out for one game with a concussion, and he's having a little slow start to his rookie campaign, but we're expecting him to be back in London. And we all know the Denzel Mims situation. Keelan Cole, he had a really good game. So I feel like that's the problem right now. Jets fans want Denzel Mims on the field so much because we're a fan base that got really obsessed with him last year in the draft process. And if you really look at the game on Sunday, you can see why Denzel's buried in the depth chart, because we actually have talent where it's like hard to get all these guys some room to work with. Keelan Cole looked great. Jamison Crowder looked great. Corey Davis, and we still have Elijah Moore coming back. And so what's your thoughts about this Jets receiver so far through week 4?
All right, so yeah, week 1, obviously Corey had a great game. 2 touchdowns, 5 catches, great game. Elijah Moore started a little slow. Obviously, if he catches that first pass, that probably changed the whole trajectory of that entire game. Granted, that was a really hard catch. Some people, they call that a drop, but I mean that was a really hard catch, especially for your first catch of your NFL career. Like, let's be fair there. But and then obviously week 2 and week 3 was basically non-existent. Yeah, I mean week 3, it was basically non-existent. But that that was a combination of a lot of things. Week 4 showed you why Denzel Mims wasn't playing or wasn't even active. Week 4 showed you, and like that's what we were seeing in training camp. That's what we were seeing for the most part. I mean, you've been to a few practices, so you saw for the most part like what Corey Davis looked like in practice, what Elijah Moore looked like in practice, what Keenan Cole looked like in practice, what Crowder looked like in practice. So like, granted, like I was easy for me to tell which fans went to practices and which fans didn't. Like the ones that were really clamoring for Mims didn't really go to the practices to understand why he was like 4th or 5th or even sometimes 6th. Like I never really saw you clamoring. Like you wanted him out there, but you were never like, oh, get him out there because yada 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 yada. Like these guys aren't good, because you saw it with your own 2 eyes at practice. But we as reporters were seeing that Mims has talent, but he wasn't outplaying Elijah Moore. He wasn't outplaying Corey. Wasn't outplaying Crowder. Wasn't outplaying Cole. Granted, like him and Cole kind of had like a similar training camp. Cole was in the spring, but was in training camp. But he was still like a little bit better than Mims. Not that Mims couldn't play, because it wasn't really like an indictment on Mims. It was more like a positive situation for the Jets, right? Because like you guys had enough talent to go around,
Exactly.
where you
That's
didn't
what I'm
have
saying.
to
This is
put
a
him
good
out there,
situation.
right? It was a really good situation, and then week 4 showed you guys that Corey scored a touchdown, Crowder scored a touchdown, Keenan Cole basically sparked the big plays with the 54-yard catch, down the sideline. Then he had the corner route, like he showed like that game showed why the coaching staff wasn't really, like they kept like sticking with their process, right? And there's things that I'll question, right? Like I'll question play calling here and there. I'll question like game plan. I'll question, players, like what's happening on the field. I'm not comfortable questioning like who should be out there, who shouldn't be out there, right? That's just something I'm not really that comfortable with because for the simple fact that these coaches, one, like me and Brian Costello, we were talking about that, and we were like, yeah, like we'll give our opinions, but these guys have the PhDs in football. That's exactly what we say. These guys are the PhD. They have the PhDs in football.
Yeah.
And these guys are with these players way more than we are. See, like all we see now, like all I see now is 30 minutes of practice on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, which is basically stretching, and I see game day. So basically, I'm seeing the same thing y'all seeing for the most part. I just talk to players and coaches when we're given access. So they're seeing way more than could ever meet that because they're there with these guys all day. So when it comes to like who's playing, who's not playing, there's reasons behind it. And do coaches make mistakes? Yeah, they make mistakes. You know, like that happens. Nobody's perfect. You know what I'm saying? But there's a method behind the madness. And again, like the Denzel Mims stuff, I just didn't understand why we were making it such a frenzy. Like if I'm just being honest, especially when the reporters saw what we saw in training camp. So let me give you the reporter perspective. What I was seeing was, how do I put it this? What I was seeing was people. I don't use the word clickbait because I don't think it was clickbait. I do really feel that the guys were they do believe that Mims should have been on the field. But what I was seeing was, yeah, Mims should be out there. But there was no substance behind why Mims should be out there. It was just Mims should be out there. So then when I asked, okay, how many snaps? Right, we're just spitballing, we're just shooting the shit. Oh, 5 to 10. Well, he got 3 in week 1. So if you're telling me you're causing all this hoopla, all this uproar, so he can play 10 snaps, like what are we doing here, right? Do you feel like he should be starting? No. Okay, so what are we doing then, right? Because in football, when it comes to receivers, if you're not the top 3, then you're going to be in a rotation. You're not going to play like that, right? Like I know that personally because when I was in JUCO playing football, I was the 4th guy, so I understood. Granted, I'm not comparing myself to them. Like let's get out there. I'm not comparing myself to them, but I understood that if you're not like the top 2 or 3 guys, you're going to be in a rotation. And you're going to play when those guys need to blow, and that is that. It is what it is. There's nothing you can do about that. So, so I understood that method behind the madness, and then again, like the special teams aspect, right? Granted, like Jeff Smith is what he is as a receiver, but if he's the starting gunner, he has to be active. Like it is what it is. He got to be
Yeah.
active because special team is such an important aspect of the game. So, and again, like I kept pounding, like, yo, I understand why the staff keeps putting Elijah Moore out because it's like, oh, put Elijah Moore in the slot. Well, you got Jameson Crowder, he's gonna be back, and Elijah Moore is getting open on the outside. It's not that he's not getting open. He's second on the team in terms of yards per separation. He's averaging 3.9. The league average is 2.8. He is getting open. Like that is like in NFL, if you can create almost 4 yards of separation per route, you are doing a very good job of getting open. Like I'm
So
not
real quick
going
about
to.
Elijah Moore, because I have a quick question about Elijah
All
Moore.
right,
So
go ahead.
he's coming back. We have James Crowder back for the first time, and they're healthy together. So what do you expect the top 3 receivers? Is it going to be Crowder in the slot still with Corey Davis and Elijah Moore on the outside, and Keelan Cole's going to be that 4th receiver? Or are they going to keep Jameson Crowder in the slot and Keelan Cole on the outside? So what are your expectations for the receiving core when it comes back, when Elijah Moore's back?
Yeah, Elijah Moore will be on the outside. Elijah Moore will be on the outside. I mean, that's what it was during training camp for the most part. Sometimes Keenan Cole will get out there, but I think it's going to be Elijah. Well, actually, because Keenan Cole had a good game, there's a chance that Elijah Moore could come off the bench and those
Yeah,
two
that's
can
what I'm
just
saying.
rotate reps. You know what I'm saying? I think to start out the game is going to be Elijah, Jameson, and Davis because those are their 3 main guys. But I mean, I think Keenan Cole will play a good amount, and that will be that. But yeah, I mean, overall though, I know I kind of went on a tangent, but the Denzel Mims situation, I mean, he's a talented receiver. He's in a very talented room, and I think that's what it comes down to at the end of the day. Like you got to really earn it. Cause you got to think about it like this: what about if the coaching staff doesn't feel that Denzel Mims has earned more snaps? You don't think people in the locker room don't think that aren't thinking the same thing? Of course, they're thinking the same thing. You don't think I like Morris thinking that, oh yeah, I earned my reps. Keenan Cole ain't thinking that. Davis ain't thinking that. Crowder ain't thinking that. Like, like I mean, I know when we throw around the culture thing around, yada yada yada. But at the end of the day, like that matters in a locker room. That's how you earn respect with the players. It's not about earning respect with the fans. Granted, like you guys care, you guys love the coaches and yada yada yada. You guys love the fans, you guys want to see y'all win, yada yada yada. And the fans respect y'all. The fans love y'all. I mean, without the fans, none of this matters. At the end of the day, none of this would be able to. You fans make the fans make sports go right. We saw what it looked like last year when there's no fans in the stands. But at the end of the day, the coaches have to make sure they earn respect in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that Saleh has done because it's been all about competition throughout the entire time, giving everybody a fair chance. You know, and that's what it's been like. And
Yeah,
granted,
exactly.
Mims is talented, but it is what it is. You feel me? Like it is what it
And
is.
Jets fans got to
Like you
realize
gotta
where we were last year with the receiving core compared to this year. Like we had
exactly,
three guys,
exactly.
Perriman, Crowder, and like it was just like one guy goes down, there's no depth, and now we're struggling to get everybody on the field because we're so deep. So shout out to the Jets front office for actually making Zach Wilson have playmakers where if God forbid somebody does go down, we have someone next man up. And that's what I'm really excited for. This offseason, tight end needs to be a priority because and we need a playmaker at that position. Right guard needs to be priority, but we're not going to get into that right now. DJ, I kept you on here longer than I told you we'll be on here. So to finish off, one last thing. What's your thoughts about Robert Saleh so far? You're talking to him in the media pretty much every day or every other day whenever you get to speak to Saleh. So how do you think he's handling he handled an 0-3 start. It's not easy to survive in the New York media because when you're losing, you're just getting, not even just you guys, like outside noise, Twitter,
Right,
Instagram,
right,
whatever it
right.
is. Like, what is your thoughts about how Robert Saleh is handling himself as a Jets head coach? Because we've been waiting for the guy to be here long term. And I feel like the biggest reason why the Jets, it's been so hard for us to find a head coach is because it's so hard to win in this market. So how do you think he's been handling the media, handling going 0-3, getting his first victory, and your overall thoughts about him as a head coach?
Um. So yeah, I mean, right now, I mean, I believe in him as a leader. He's clearly a leader of men. Obviously, he can really game plan defensively. It's early though, so we just got to continue let the cookie bake with him too. You know, so with Salah, I won't call it cookie. I'll just call it the cake bake because cake is a bigger ornament than a cookie. You know what I'm saying? Because Zach needs a coaching staff to get him right. So um, overall, though, I like how he handles the media though. He's very insightful. He helps me do my job, which I respect and I appreciate because you want to ask him certain questions that like I'm asking that so I can write this in my story. He's able to give me certain answers. There's other times where I'll ask too much of a football question where he can't give me too much. Like that one asking about Mac Jones dinking and ducking, and he looks at me, he just starts laughing. That one was funny. I ain't gonna lie, that one was funny. But yeah, overall though, I just he's been a joy to cover. I'm kind of lucky that like that's the first coach I get to cover. You know what I'm saying? A coach that makes my job easier. Coming from covering high school to covering the pros, the biggest jump is access, right? Like it's not writing stories because telling like you can do that high that's not the issue. It's not how many things you got to cover and things like that. Like free agency drive, yada yada yada. The biggest jump is access because in high school, bro, when I mean like you can call the most powerful coaches in the area that you cover and get them on the phone whenever you need to. You can do that whenever. NFL coaches, that's not happening. That's
Oh
just
yeah.
not happening. You feel me? That's just not happening at all. There's more hoops you gotta jump through. So when I'm able to get into this press conference, I can only ask maybe 2 or 3 questions, and he's able to answer it in a way that can help me do my job. I respect that, I'm always appreciate that. So that's my thoughts on Salah from a media perspective. Obviously, still early from a coaching perspective. Still early. We gotta see how everything develops. When people say, "Oh, is the team gonna quit on Salah?" They're too young to quit because they don't know any better. Teams that quit are like veteran teams. That I've already made their money, yada yada yada, and it's like, all right, it is what it is. Like that's how the Dolphins they can start 0-7 in 2019 and finish 5-4 because that team was so young. It's like these guys don't know any better. And they're fighting for their careers. And right now, there's a lot. I mean, just like the fifth or third or whatever, second or whatever youngest in the league, the average age is 25. There's guys that still want to prove themselves, like Corey Davis proves himself as number one. Zach want to prove himself as a NFL quarterback. Elijah Vera Tucker wants to prove himself as a left guard. Morgan Moses still want to prove that he can play in the NFL. You know what I'm saying? Quinn Williams wants to get his next contract. Bryce Hall wants to show the world that he can still play. He was that first round talent before he got hurt. Brandon Echoes, Gidry, those guys still want to prove their worth. Marcus May, granted he had some issues coming. He had some issues that got reported yesterday, but he still wants to prove that he's worth his money. C.J. Mosley, John Frankie Myers. So there's a lot of guys that still have something to prove, whether it's in the NFL or whether it's justifying their contract. Whatever it is, that's why I never expected, the team to ever quit on Saleh. And he has an infectious personality that's going to gravitate guys towards him. So,
yeah, man, I think Jets fans are very excited what we've seen from Robert Saleh, especially on the defensive side of the ball. We knew we're getting a defensive-minded head coach, and it's awesome to see that the defense is doing their job. I said this to my friend before the game against the Titans. I was like, yo, it feels like the Jets are right back to last year, 0-3, and the world is crumbling all over again. But, man, we really have to realize that the offense is the reason why we're 0-3. The defense has been doing their job. Let's see what the defense can do against the Titans, and they definitely, had their best performance of the year so far with getting 7 sacks. So, DJ, I appreciate you joining the show. I know we went a little longer than I told you, but we had a lot to talk about. I hope you have a really safe trip going to London. Enjoy going across the pond. Hopefully you're coming back with the victory. I know that you're a diehard Jets fan now after covering them for Guys, make sure you guys check out DJ on Twitter down below. He's great on Twitter. He gives us all the best news. He interacts with everybody. He interacts with the trolls. He interacts with the people that shows him love. He interacts with people that shows him hate. He has a really fun time on Twitter. So make sure you guys check him out. And, of course, check out his articles over on the NY Daily News. DJ, anything you want to get off your chest before you head over to London tomorrow and your overall thoughts about the Jets?
No, I pretty got all my thoughts off. Hopefully they don't make me look stupid with the prediction, but yeah.
They won't make you look stupid. I'm excited for this game, man. DJ, it's always a pleasure to have you on Jets Media Show. I'm excited to have you on again in the future. Hopefully we can talk about another Jets victory because, man, let me tell you this, DJ. It feels good to have a week long of making content about a damn victory. So, guys, make sure you guys like the stream if you guys enjoyed. Check out DJ on Twitter. You guys already know what's good. And I'll catch you guys next time. Let's go Jets, man. Peace out, everybody.